Hey guys, welcome back to Blown Budget Garage. If you're new to the channel, my name is Randy and this is what we've been working on. Today, I got a brake booster that came with the car. Instead of buying one new, I'm gonna hope that it works. I bought a new master cylinder, but I'm gonna go ahead and get it sanded down, primered and painted. And then I'm gonna actually get to these rear brakes. Last episode in the intro, I said, I'm gonna do this and get the brakes on. I forgot all about the brakes because I started focusing on other things. So I think that's the second or third time I've mentioned I was gonna do the rear brakes and didn't get around to it. But whatever, man, that's just the way things go on this channel. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get everything lined up and ready and start sanding, start painting, and then we'll get these rear brakes on, because after that, I got one brake hose to put on, the master cylinder to put on, and technically I can get this old girl down on the ground and go for a ride. Also, one other thing I forgot to do last episode was the finger pistols, so let's have some fun. I just want to let y'all know that I will never ever apologize for those finger pistols. But I did want to let you see what it's like to work in this old shop here with me. Right now it's 95 degrees, 32% humidity, which equals 100% suck. Now let's get to work. Now, I know what some of y'all are probably thinking. You spend all this money and all these brand new parts on this car, why would you not just buy a new brake booster? Well, the answer to your question is because I've already spent all this money buying all these brand new parts. And if I can, if this works, if it still works, I'd like to use it to save some money, because I still got a lot of things left to buy. So at this point, every dollar that I can save gets me one step closer to the car being done. So what I'm doing is I'm just knocking off some of this surface rust that's on the booster, and then I'm going to take some self-etching primer. I'm going to prime it, and then I'm going to paint it, and then while the paint is drying, I'm going to start putting these rear brakes in. So that's the plan. So let me get this finished up, and I'll show y'all what it looks like. And then we'll get it in primer, and I'll show y'all what that looks like, and then we'll get it some paint on it, and then I'll show you what that looks like. After that, we'll go on to these rear brakes. And I don't really like doing rear brakes when they're drums. I don't like doing front brakes if they're drums. I don't like doing drum brakes, period. Ever. Like, the only time there should be a drum anything is if it's a magazine on an AR, because that gives you more fun tickets. So let me get this done, and then I'll start filming again. All right, so believe it or not, spent about an hour, sanded it down, cleaned it up, blew it off, sanded it down again, cleaned it up, blew it off again, and now I got some self-etching primer on it. So we're gonna let that dry, and while that's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and get these back tires off and get my parts set up and get everything ready to start doing the back brakes. And then I'll come out here and I'll shoot some black paint on this, and we'll let that cure for the next few hours while I'm getting everything else on this car done. So looks really good, I'm happy. Well, we got the back tire off, and I got both of the drums off, the old ones. And the shoes actually got a little bit more life in them than I was expecting. I mean, that's actually, I actually could have drove around on that, to be honest with you, but I wanted to make sure that everything was brand new. So the only tip I have for anyone that's going to do rear brakes, especially, or drum brakes, if you've never done it, is you can either do one side at a time, because this side is going to be just like that side, only it's going to be in reverse, or do like I like to do, and I'm just going to take a bunch of pictures from every which angle, so that I can just sit here and look at my phone and not have to keep getting up and going over and getting up and going over. So that's my only little tip I got for y'all. But aside from that, if I run into anything that's difficult or I feel like, you know, could be beneficial for somebody to know, I'll go ahead and point it out. But for the meantime, let me go ahead and start getting all these springs and clips and everything off, because I also got new wheel cylinders. They're sitting right there. So let me start disassembling this and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so as you can see, I got everything taken apart. Took my air hose and just kind of blew everything clean, sprayed some brake clean on it, cleaned everything up a little bit, just make it easier to work with. So I'm now ready to put all the parts back on this side, the passenger side. But after I took all the parts off, I want to show y'all. I got the first coat of black on. Yeah. Once I get it out of the sun, you'll get to see what it looks like a lot better. But yeah, that's the first coat. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these parts put back on, these shoes and everything. And then I'll get the other side taken apart, shoot a second coat of black on there. And yeah, we'll be one step closer to having these brakes done. So I fixed my glasses and I'm all dirty again, but whatever. See you in a bit. All right guys, so here you go. New wheel cylinder, new springs, new cable, new springs and plates, new pins, new hardware, new adjuster, new shoes. Now the only tip I can give you on this is to make sure that this shoe, that this little connecting rod right here, this one is actually in place, and that the grooves, there's like, it's like a tongue, it's like a fork. One side sits on each side of that. Just make sure that that's lined up nice and tight before you put your springs in, otherwise you'll be fighting it a little bit. But aside from that, it's all done on this side. So now I just got to go shoot another coat of black paint on the booster and then go do the driver's side. Alright guys, so I got the other side done. So now it's got all new springs, new shoes, new drums on both sides. But I gotta go get a brake line because this is the one that I broke right here. So I'm about to head into town and I'm gonna go get a brake line, and then I gotta bend it to make it fit. And then after that, I'll put my booster back in and my master cylinder back in, and then we're gonna fill it full of fluid, and we're gonna bleed all the brakes, and then I'm gonna adjust my torsion bars to get the car to sit the way I want it. And then after that, we're gonna drop it back on the ground. So I got a little bit more work to get done. Just gotta go get this part, and then I'll get right back to it, guys. So see you in a bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. Making a custom bent brake line sucks. It's really difficult. Only tools I had to work with was this brake line bender. You can use either a 3/16 or a 1/4 inch line on it, and then a little cutting tool and a little flare tool. But the end result, let me show y'all right quick, is this line now comes up, bends over, bends down, goes across, shoots off the other direction, and then it comes up and over into the proportioning valve. So hopefully it's not, I didn't crack it anywhere, kink it anywhere. It looks pretty good. I mean, it fits really nice like it's supposed to. So fingers crossed it works. The next thing that we're gonna do is, it's still right out, yep, there. There it is. I gotta get the booster in. I gotta get the master cylinder on the booster, get the booster into the car. Then I'll get the two lines, main brake lines going up to the master cylinder hooked up, which are right here and right here. And then I'm gonna fill it full of fluid, and we're gonna try to bleed these brakes, see what happens. So, getting closer. Stay tuned. Well guys, yet again, it's been another full day. Sun's going down. Don't you worry. We're not stopping anytime soon. Tomorrow is Father's Day, and my wife already said I can have as much time as I want tonight. I think she said that. I'm not quite sure. But here we go. Check this out. Brake booster and the master cylinder are on. Look at that, guys. Got the lines hooked up and everything. So, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I think that just looks absolutely killer. Turned out really nice. Fingers crossed that that brake booster is going to work, because it just, compared to what it was, it just looks absolutely phenomenal. So, next step is to get some brake fluid in here. I left the brake lines disconnected at the wheel cylinders in the rear, and my thinking is that hopefully if there's anything trapped in any of these lines, I mean, I tried to clean them out when I had the chance, but if there is anything still left in these lines, hopefully we'll get it all flushed out before we get fresh, clean brake fluid in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some fluid to this and then start letting it seep down. And yeah, I'll come back in just a little bit, and then I'll get my buddy Mark to give me a hand, and we'll bleed these brakes, get the tires on, get our torsion level set, and who knows, we might just ease her on out, do a little yard driving. Should be fun. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, so I want to fill you in on everything that's going on. I got my vacuum hose going to my brake booster right there. We got the brakes bled, but unfortunately, this back right wheel cylinder, it's bad. It will not bleed. We tried blowing it out. The whole works. So we're gonna have to take that back apart and fix it. But we got the car off of jack stands so we could see how it looks on the ground, and see how our wheels are looking and everything. Of course, we're gonna get this aligned once it's done. But so I gotta get those two gauges into the car. I gotta get my cluster back there in the car. And in order to get rid of that chair, this is what we did. Took a page right out of Zip Ties and Bias Plies and zip tied a board down and zip tied the fuel cell to the board, and it's pinched up in the front. And we just did that so we could get the car down and roll it around if need be. So yeah, we got the magnet up, or the magnetic level up here, where you can see how the car is sitting. So it's still a little high on the front, but I think once we get all the weight back on the car and the car is complete, then we'll do a final stance on it. But yeah, so here's where we're at. I'm gonna get those gauges and everything in, and then that's probably gonna be it for this episode, because I feel like I got a lot done. So I'm gonna knock that out, and I'll see you in a bit. All right, so we got the cluster in, but I accidentally pushed on the corner and broke it again. So I gotta take that piece off and glue it back on, finish painting everything up. I got my tack in, that's where it's gonna sit right here. And I just got the wires ran for this gauge, but I gotta move it out of the way. I gotta do a little cutting right here, fabricate a piece. Temp gauge is gonna go here, and the oil pressure gauge is gonna go there. So got wires to tuck up and everything else, but that's where we're at with this. And that's probably gonna be all that we get done tonight, so. All right, oh, my face so dirty. We're gonna end it on that right there. It's super late. I think it's, what you say, like 11:30, something like that. And it's this day number 2 of like 12, 13, 14 hours working on the car. So that's where we're gonna end this episode. Got a lot done. Basically got everything I wanted to get done and then some. So next episode, we got some metal fab to do to get those gauges to fit nicely. And I don't know what I'm gonna do next. Maybe I'll put the trunk and hood back on, and I don't know, start sanding. We're getting close to where I need sheet metal for back in here. But at any rate, I'm out of parts now. All the parts that I've purchased for the car have been installed. So now it's basically wiring up gauges, tucking wires, getting ready to start sanding, that good stuff. So yeah, I'll think about what I want to do next episode. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. Have a great week. See you next time.